welcome to another edition of Tasker 101 Tutorials. This is lesson number 25, and this lesson is going to involve a lot of different things. What we're going to do, we're going to create a sign-in application, kind of, for a tablet, and we're going to do that using Tasker. We're also going to use motion detector app, which you'll see in a bit. And we're going to be dealing with scenes. We're going to be talking about inputting information into a scene when it's active, and then how to store that information into a file. So it's going to be a lot of different things we're going to cover this lesson. Just follow along. You can watch it once and maybe go back and actually do it yourself as you're watching. Even though I'm doing this on a tablet, you can do this same type of thing on your phone, just sort of practice, just as a way to learn how to use these different features of Tasker. So what we're going to do is we're going to get started by creating our scene. Alright, so we're already here in scenes. I'm going to click the plus button. I'm going to give that scene a name. That's what I'm going to do. 101. This is going to be our sign-in start scene. So we'll go sign start. And that'll be good. So I'll click the little check. And this is our scene background. I want to make it the full screen. So I want it to be, you can have it be any color you want it to be. I'm going to have it be black. So I'm going to click Menu, Properties, go down here to Background Color, click the search button, go all the way to black. You can have any alpha. I want it to be just solid black, because obviously I don't want my screen or anything to show through it. And click OK, and then go back to save it. There you go. Now if we click the little magnifying glass right here in the right hand corner, you'll get the grid so that you can add stuff to it. So this is going to be our start scene. You can long click that element or click the plus button down here. I'm just going to add some text. And I'm going to put the text in here. I'm going to say, do all this all caps. Welcome to Tasker 101. Please sign in. Alright, that'll do for that. And text size, you can kind of guesstimate, and then if you're wrong, you just go back in and change it again. Easy enough to do. Text color, let's make this some type of bright blue color so it will show against the black. And that's about it. You could give your text a different background color as you see up here for your text box, and of course we can add tap and press things, but we're not going to do that, so not for that one. So welcome to Tasker 101. Please sign in. As you can see, that can be a lot bigger, so we will make it a lot bigger. There, that's more like it. Welcome to Tasker 101. Please sign in. And then I'm going to go down here and I'm going to create a button to press to start. So we'll choose button, which is at the top of the list. And you can name each element in the scene as we talked about before. I'm just going to leave it button 1. And then the label on this is going to be start. Or actually, let's do press here to start. So we got that. The label size, we'll have to figure that out in there, but definitely want it to be pretty big, so I'm going to say 65 to start. Remember, this is on a tablet. Color of the label. Let's do that, and let's just see what we get when we do that. Let's go back and look at it. So you can see with the button, it's there we go. If we press a little magnifying glass, we'll get to see what it looks like. So you can see it kind of looks more like a button. Let's tap on that again. See if there's anything else we want to change about it. Center. You can also put an icon on your button if you want. I don't think I'm going to do that. Yeah, that'll do. Now, you might remember, just like I said, with the text, we could give the text a background too. So if you wanted to do a quote-unquote button, but just use text to create your button, choose your own color background, things like that, you could do that. And we'll probably do that on the next scene just so you can see how that would work. So we got Welcome to Tasker 101, please sign in, press here to start. I don't think this is quite centered, but obviously if you're creating this, you take your time, you make sure things are centered, but I just want to get through this lesson and it not be an hour long, so I may not be too particular about that kind of stuff right now. So that's our scene number 1. Now we're going to go scene number 2, and I'll tell you right now, you might have figured, well, how come we didn't change the button and put an action to it? When I'm creating something like this, where it's going to involve multiple scenes and pressing a button on one scene is going to kill that scene and open another scene, well, it's better to create all your scenes first and then go back and add in the actions most of the time. So that's what we're going to do. So we're going to go ahead and create a second scene. Second scene is going to be, I'll call that 1, no, not 2, 1, 0, 1, oops, 101, sign, info. This is where we're going to get their information. Alright, now I want this background to be the same color because I don't really want it to appear too much like they've gone anything entirely different. So I'm going to press the menu button up here. I'm going to click Properties, go to Background Color, click the magnifying glass, go down the corner for black, and make sure the alpha is none. And then go back, and now we got a nice black scene. You can see there's still borders at the top and the bottom. Remember, besides dragging this, you can always press the finger, press resize, and use the buttons because sometimes that works better. Normal. So now we got a black background filling the whole thing. So now we're going to enter some fields that people will enter information into. Let's go with, well, first I need to click the magnifying glass, turn it into a grid so we can add stuff. Click the plus button. And first we're going to get their name. So the way we're going to do that is we're going to have a text edit field. This creates a field that has editable text. So text edit. I am going to change the name of this field just to make it easier for me. I'm going to call it name. And then text, I'm going to give it some hyphens. Actually, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to leave it blank. Definitely want to leave it, I want to leave it blank because I want it to be empty. The hyphen thing, you'll see in a minute, there is some instances where you'll want to do that. Text size, you can probably take it up to about 65. That'll be good. Text color. Let's hit the magnifying glass. We'll say white. The text color white. Maximum number of characters. You can set the maximum number of characters they can enter here. I'll say unlimited. And then I'm going to go to background. And under background, I'm going to choose a blue color. A darker blue. And then I'm going to give it a border, so I'll say border width 4 just to make it stand out. I'm going to pick sort of a silver color. Click OK. Corner radius, round off the corners a little bit. And you'll see what all that looks like in a minute. And then text changed. So this is basically saying what do you want to happen when someone types something in there? Well, the first thing I want to do is I want to have I want to set a variable to that text. So we're going to say variable, and then we're going to say variable set. And we're going to choose, we're going to say, let's say, name, sign. So we'll know it's the name for signing in. And then set variable 2. If you hit the tag, actually, this you can type in. I have it already in here because I've used it, but %new val is what you want to put in there. So you're setting this variable, setting this variable to the new value that was entered in there. And we got our background picked. Okay, so then I go out of here, and you'll see this is so I want to put this up here. I'm gonna add some text. We're gonna make this name and colon, and then make that about 60. I'll make sure we got the right color for that. Yeah, that's white, that's perfect. So we'll put this here. The person knows this is where they enter the text. And if you get the little magnifying glass, you can see more or less what that looks like with the curved corners and the silver lining, the blue background. It's easy to type into. Press my magnifying glass so we can now add more. So next thing we're going to do is we're going to add another text edit. Text edit. And we're going to call this one phone. And text size, I can't remember what we did. I think we did 65. We'll leave that there. Color for the text, I'll make that white. Now input type, we're going to change this because we know we're asking for a phone number. We want a number. So right here you have phone number. So that way it'll automatically bring up a phone number dial pad because it knows you're entering your phone number. Maximum characters, I mean obviously you could drop it down because you know phone numbers aren't more than about 10 with the hyphens, a few more, but you know, whatever, you just trust that people aren't going to be dumb and enter a million phone numbers, right? So then we're going to go to background, color, and we're going to use the dark blue. Of course, I would go to that other one, copy the color number, and then paste it in here to get it exactly matching. So that's something you want to do when you're really being picky. But again, for this, we'll just sort of guesstimate. I had this be some kind of silvery color with a corner radius somewhere around there. And then text changed. We're going to go plus. We're going to say this is what's going to happen when that text changes. Variables. Variable set. And this time we're going to do phone. Oops. Where did my stupid percent sign go? Percent. Phone. Sign. So it's the phone number from sign in. We're going to have that set to. And again, for this, you would say new val. So the value that they're entering right here, you want to set that variable to whatever they just entered. And now we can go back. I don't know how come my background didn't take. Let's go in and change that again. There we go. And then we're going to add text. And for this, we'll say phone number. Make that about 60. Text color should be white. And we're going to move that over here. Now if we hit the magnifying glass, you see what it looks like. You can see this box, the corners aren't exactly the same, the color is exactly the same. Again, if you're taking your time, you'd go back and forth and copy color numbers and make sure everything matched, but we're not going to worry about that for the sake of this lesson. Alright, and then the last thing I'm going to do, I'm going to go plus, and this time I'm going to choose spinner. Now if you see, you have bunches of different things here. You've got, actually I'm not going to choose spinner, I'm going to choose menu, but you've got text, spinner, slider, number picker, menu. These are all various things that you can use when you're building scenes and you want to input something while the scene is showing. And so, yeah, actually I'm going to use spinner. That's the one I want to use for this. These do different things. You can kind of play with them. That's the best way to figure out what they do. Especially ones that I haven't used a lot. When I go to create a scene, I have to try it and remind myself what it does. But spinner is one we're going to use for this. And so, I'm just going to leave it named spinner 1. Source, I'm going to leave it manual. Pop-up background color, I'll just leave that like it is. And then items. Now we're going to add items or options. So the first item I'm going to add is going to be the hyphens. That's because I want that to be what shows until they tap it to see that they're to pick their option. Alright, so that's one. Second, I'm going to say let's go to numbers 18 to 25. Hit the plus. I'll go 26 to 35. And a bit of space there, so I know you guys probably don't care, but sometimes little things like that will drive me crazy. And we're going to add another one, and this one will be 36 to 50. I'll add one more. I'll say 50 plus. Oops. 50 plus. Alright. Now you see there are actions over here. You can apply an action to each one of these so that when they select that, it performs a specific action. The reason you would do that is obviously you can have a different action depending on which selection they make. We're not going to do that because we're just going to have an action. Once they select one, we're going to have an action for that. So upon item select, we're going to say variables, variable set. We'll call this age sign, and then have it set to where is that option? I think it's tap label. We'll find out in a second. So now we're gonna go back. So basically what we've done is we've created this button here. And obviously you don't need that much space, but I do want the background to match, so I'm gonna tap that. We're gonna pop up background color. We're gonna make it a similar color. Then go to items. Just make sure. Yeah, see, why is that not working? I think when you tap it, it will. Oh, there we go. That's the part I was missing, item layout. So you go into item layout, and that's where you can change each thing, properties, background color. Let's make it blue. And I think that will be it. There you go. So now you have blue. Except it's going to be small. If you want to make it bigger, you have to tap, and then you have to go back in item layout. This kind of thing is where it gets to be a little bit tedious doing it this way, but it's, you know, you get it done. It just takes time. That's as much time as I really care to put into it right now. Yeah, doesn't really look the way I want it to look, so let me just I'll see if I can get it about the right size, because you're wanting to get it the size that you want to have it on the screen, more or less. And it takes some playing with it to get it, you know, all exactly the way you want it. And it's not really working the way I want it to, so aye. So it goes, so it goes. Okay, so we're going to get this done one way or another. I'm going to tap this. Background color. I'm going to make that black. I'm going to click this. Menu. Properties. I want this to be a dialog. Background color. Black. And let's see. There we go. You have to have the magnifying glass, that's the key. I always forget that, because when you're dealing with buttons and stuff, there's so many different elements. So these are the various elements of the spinner. Oops, sorry. Didn't mean to hit the camera there, but so this is one element, which we're not really using. We can put it here. Let's just make it easy and go move. And this is another element we're not using. Put it here, I don't think. This middle element, I believe, is what is our input. So we're going to make it bigger. Put it in the middle. Now once we do that, we can then change to edit and then tap it and now change the elements of it itself. So for text, we'll start out with that, and text position, we'll say center, vertical fit mode, we'll say none, text color, say white, and that should get us where we want to go. We can go to background. Background, we want to be the blue. And then border width, we can give it the same border as the other buttons so it all matches. Again, just kind of throwing this out there. You can go make your own, be picky about the colors. I don't know why my background colors seem to never stick to begin with. Aha! Now I think we finally got it. We'll go back to scene edit, back to scene edit. Haha. So that's our whole scene. This is just going to be a number, so it's a smaller box. We could make that box bigger if we wanted to, but there's not really any reason to. Let's go ahead and, even though it's a small box, make it so that it's pretty much centered with the other ones. Now we're going to add a text element. And this is just going to say age group. Text size will make 60. Text color should be white. And that'll be that. We do need to add a colon so that it matches. And there we go. Now that's all. This is obviously, oops, I go hitting the camera again. All this is obviously not perfect, but it's not exactly the same background color and stuff, but you get the overall idea. And now we're going to add another scene element. This time we're going to add a finish button, but instead of picking an actual button, which restricts me to a specific background, this time I'm going to use text, and I'm going to say finish. And then make that about the same, but to make it look like a button, text color is white. We'll change that just for the fun of it. We'll make it a really this weird purpley color just for fun, and then go to background and give it the same dark blue background, and then for border we'll give it a thicker border just so you can see what that looks like, and we'll give it some other weird color just for fun, and give it a bigger corner radius. Now once again, and I can't really tell you why, but for whatever reason, every time I change the background color, it's apparently not working until I go back in and do it. So, easy enough, just go back in, pick the background, change it again. And there you go. Now you might ask about the font. The font that you're seeing, anytime you do something like a tasker, when you just use text, it's going to use whatever the default font is on your tablet. So when you're doing it, your font's going to look different. It's going to look like whatever the default font is on your tablet or your phone. If you wanted these to be specific, then you would have to create these types of things, the button elements. Well, it wouldn't work for buttons like this, but for this type of button or for this type of label, you could do it on your computer using Photoshop or something, export it as an image, and then add it into your scene as an image if you want to use a different type of font. Otherwise, it's just always going to use whatever your default font is. So we have the finish button. And so we go back. Or actually, let's go back, but then hit this so you can kind of see what it looks like. You have the name, phone number, and the age group, and then your finish button. I think what I'm going to do at this point, because this is obviously becoming a really long lesson, you've already seen how to add some of these things, so I'm going to divide this up into like 3 different lessons. So I'm going to go ahead and call this lesson done. For right now, we've created these 2 scenes. This is part A. This is a definite continuous, will be a continuous lesson from A, B, and probably C. So that's it for this one. Come back to just go ahead and go to the next one, part B, if you want to just continue on with we'll continue on and talk about how to make it so that these things do something other than setting the variable, and then also writing that information to a file, and then how to make this whole thing actually work if you wanted to actually use it. And we'll integrate the motion detector as well. So that's going to be it for lesson 25 part A. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to my channel. Check out my other Tasker tutorials if you haven't already. Check out my Android app reviews. Got almost getting close to 200 of those, as well as product reviews and just a bunch of different cool stuff. And please share this with anyone you know who might be interested. And that's about it till next time. So have fun with Tasker and just go right on to lesson B.